Well, Bobby, it's a fantastic game that's taking place at the Kia Oval. Rematch for the first ever FA Cup final between the Wanderers and the Royal Engineers. And it should be a fantastic occasion, shouldn't it?
It is, and it's great to reminisce such a wonderful game that nobody would have ever envisaged reaching the heights that the FA Cup now reaches throughout the world.
And for both teams, a huge thing. I've spoken to both sides. I've been down to watch them train as well.
Yeah.
But for both teams, it's a massive thing for them to play not only at the Kia Oval but also reenact that first ever game.
It is, and I think it'll be very interesting, and it's something, that perhaps, with the memory of football, we tend just to put them back into the history books and never react them, as you might say, and this is a great opportunity for the two sets of teams to get out there and show what football was all about many, many years ago. And
also, from a historical sense as well, isn't it? We all know how important the FA Cup is, but from a historical sense as well, it's sort of, I think, making more people aware that actually the first ever FA Cup final was played at the Kia Oval.
Yeah, it's something that perhaps, through the history of the game, we don't delve enough into that, and to realise that the first one was at the Kia Oval, as you rightly say. Then everybody looks at Wembley, don't they? Then we've made a new Wembley, and all of a sudden, like the history that surrounds this wonderful championship, as we might call it, of the knockout. It's the best knockout competition in the world. There's no doubt about that. And I've been following it already this season, and the interest it's created is phenomenal. In the West Country, we have like Newport County battling against another non-league team, and people don't realise the depth and the amount of teams that do enter it. And you get to two finalists, and of course they play at the wonderful Wembley as we know it.
And for the Wanderers and for the Royal Engineers players as well, I know you might go and have a little watch of the Wanderers train. What sort of tips would you give them? I suppose it's don't try and get too caught up in the occasion, really.
Well, it's not that. It's to enjoy it and to remember what you're reenacting, really. And it's been something that I have been involved from the start, but I've not had the opportunity to see that the team I'll be leading out. But we'll make sure that doesn't happen, because I'm going to be working with them a week on Saturday.
Yeah, you're going to go and work with the Wanderers, and then look, we know that you led Wimbledon out in 1988. We know all about that, but you'll be leading the Wanderers out as well for this game here on that evening, and that must be something you're looking forward to as well, I'd have thought.
It is, people don't realise, Mark, through the history of the game, like you have friends that you play with, and they all disappear throughout the world, as you might say. And I used to room with a lad called Bobby Ferguson, goalkeeper for West Ham, and we were great mates. And when I played there from 1973-75, we had a great friendship. And when I got to play Liverpool at Wembley, he sent a letter to me. Gouldy, great achievement. He says, when you walk on the pitch at Wembley, he said, just wave your left hand. So, with all that goes on, Mark, all of a sudden I'm walking onto the pitch with Kenny Dalglish on my right-hand side, and I just happened to wave my left hand, and by all accounts, BBC just panned in on me then, and little did I know that Bobby Ferguson, who now resides in Adelaide in Australia, bet everybody in Adelaide that I'd wave my left hand as I walked onto the pitch, and he's now a multi-millionaire in Adelaide, so there's all these stories that get attached to it, Mark, and I'll be thinking of Bobby Ferguson, when I walk on the pitch at the Oval, I'll definitely wave my left hand. So if you want any bets, Churchy, get on me.
And final question for you as well is, just as a man that has won the FA Cup, has lifted the FA Cup as well, you'd encourage people to get down here on the 7th of November, wouldn't you?
come and see 22 plus lads play their hearts out for the greatest knockout competition in the world. It really, really is. And I've got a unique record as well, Churchill. Not many people know this. I've actually got an FA Cup winners medal. I've won the FA Cup as a manager, but I've never got on the field of play because I was a non-playing substitute in 1975 when West Ham beat Fulham 2-0, and I was a substitute. During the last 10 minutes, I tried to draw the attention of a copping bout to John Lyle and Ron Greenwood, but they never let me on, Churchy. So I've got that record to take with me onto the Oval as well.